kind of bully India into buying more defense equipment with them. Well, the Indian administration, the entire Indian historical thinking will have alarm bells ringing, and this will make sure that India actually doesn't invest more with the US. Anand Narasimhan is also joining us. Anand, the other friction point is buying Russian oil. And, you know, on that too, for the last 2 years plus, India has made it very clear, one, they're not breaking any rules, first of all. And it was always indicated that when the price control kicked in, India could buy oil from whoever they wished to.
Yes, Shivani, and good afternoon to our viewers. See, Bharat was not buying more than 1% of oil from Russia till before the Russia-Ukraine war happened. And at that time, at a time when there was war, there was disruption, Iran had a lot of sanctions and it could not sell oil. Russia discounted its prices. And for Bharat to be able to mitigate the post-COVID flux and perhaps rise, there is a reason why we in India right now are not paying more than 90-95 rupees in most of the cities across the place, except for Bengaluru perhaps and Mumbai, where local taxes and octroi, etc. Add to the and cesses add to the price. But it's within 100 rupees a litre of petrol and diesel. But if you look at Europe, if you look at some of the other countries which have been impacted because of the Russia-Ukraine crisis, the oil prices have really soared. And it has a direct impact on inflation, on consumer prices, etc. for product prices. So Bharat has said that we're going to look at, and another thing it has done is it also helped shore up our forex reserves. So it's in strategic interest that a decision like this has been taken. If America or any other nation is willing to sell at the same prices as Russia is selling, then Bharat will buy from them. So you talked about price control, and that's true. But who is an America to tell India who it should buy its oil from? And how can they decide? How can a Trump decide? See, and this is something that Union Minister for Commerce and Industries, Piyush Goyal, told me on the sidelines of the CETA, or the Comprehensive Economic Trade Agreement that was signed with the UK. And he, on the sidelines, said a deal cannot be one-sided. You cannot bully a nation into doing a deal because that nation is not going to be happy about it. And there is no point making false commitments. See, one of the things that Donald Trump is irked about is the trade deficit, $45 billion worth of trade deficit, which he believes is not fair to America, that America's exposure to Indian exports is far greater than India's exposure to American imports. And one item or one aspect which could have helped mitigate that was the purchase of defense equipment, because he wanted India to buy more defense equipment, military equipment, and two places where we need to really up the ante is aerial firepower, fifth generation aircrafts, and also naval fleet and naval power, both of which Bharat is working on its own indigenous prototypes and indigenous offerings, but that will take another 10 years. So in the short term, in these 10 years, what can fill? And we need at least 3 or 4 squadrons. What or who can do that? So it's the Rafale, it's the Sukhoi 57 or the Su 57, or it's the F-35. And these are the fifth generation aircrafts that could match for us. Now India is saying, if you are going to bully us, and if you are going to try and push us into a corner as a nation, here you go. I've got the money, I've got the requirement, but I'll look at a nation that is fair to me, and it is giving me a deal where it's a win-win for both sides. So this is also telling Trump that you're bullying, you're staring down, Bharat is not going to work, because we're going to stare you back, and this is going to hurt. His MAGA base right now, Shivani and viewers, is at its lowest in terms of popularity and approval ratings. His Ipsos ratings have dropped. He's at 40%, and the MAGA base is also not very happy. So Trump has to go back with a win. He may be angling and crying and throwing a tantrum about a Nobel Peace Prize, etc. But at the end of the day, unless he's able to create more than 100,000, 200,000 jobs, it's not going to help. And more economists are saying this matter is also in the courts, whether or not he can use tariff as a bullying tactic. And this is going to be counterproductive very soon. So Trump also realizes that he can stare down, bully and browbeat only to a certain extent. Beyond that, nations are not going to, and they're going to look at other options. And importantly, with this UK trade deal, the UK market is a huge potential for Indian exporters. And by September, if the European trade deal also falls into place, then Indian exporters will have a huge market opening there, and possibilities opening up and opportunities opening up.
Yeah.
And we'll continue to buy oil and perhaps even Sukhois from Russia.
Yes. Well, India has a very long-standing history of strategic autonomy, and if there is one thing that doesn't work with India is this kind of tactics. US will never succeed in getting India to become a vassal state if that is what US President Donald Trump is hoping for, because India just doesn't work like that in its diplomacy. Anand.